Hey, what's up, people? Hey, fam. Listen, you know I don't do a lot of response videos, but I was watching somebody else's response to some other video, and then I went to that video. You know how it is on YouTube. So anyway, Sharice, girl, come on. Did you really have to show your ass on YouTube? Oh my God. Let me say first, I ain't trying to start no bump with you, you know, but you were wrong, girl. You were just wrong. You know, I waited tables through college. And when I first came to New York, you know, my first job was waiting tables. I transferred from one restaurant to another. Very, very nice, shishi little restaurant. And I've trained waiters, and I've worked like at diners and on cruise ships and all that different stuff. So let me tell you, when you are working as a waiter, you are expecting, you know, a certain amount of money in tips. It is true. Yes, you have accepted a job where you're making less hourly. You know, I think the last I was doing was like $3.13 an hour. But it does kind of balance out, you know, because some people tip you great and some people tip you terrible. You saying that you think that it was racism, you know, and I don't think it's that. Even though there is a little bit of play in there, because I will tell you as a waiter myself, I often heard that, you know, black people don't tip and Europeans don't tip. Black people don't tip because supposedly they are cheap, or they don't know how to tip, or someone has never taught them how to tip, and Europeans supposedly don't tip because the tip is usually included in the meal, in the price of the meal, when you are, you know, in Europe going out to a restaurant. So that's what I always heard. And I tried to like not have those stereotypes in my mind when when waiting tables and when serving people. Now and then it did come up, especially if it was a really high bill. And you say it was three of y'all, it was $160. And then you say, well, you know, who is it? Cheesecake Factory and these other places add the tip in. The reason they add the tip in is because they figure that people are not going to tip the appropriate amount, which an appropriate amount for good service is 15 to 18%. For great service, it's 20% or better. You know, you're not going to Taco Bell or McDonald's where you've got to stand up, wait in line. You might get a smile, you might not. You know, you can ask for everything you want and have it delivered to you at the table. When you go to a nice restaurant, you sit down, you relax, the waiter comes and gets your order, they bring you water, they bring you drinks, you know, and the waiter is right. I mean, not only does that, all the tip money doesn't even go into his pocket. If he has a runner, he has to pay off the runner. You know, the person who actually brings the food, if it's a busy restaurant and the waiter doesn't bring the food, the person who brings the food, he has to pay them. He has to pay the busser, the person who cleans up the table and makes sure that everything's nice and comes by and takes your dishes. He has to pay the bartender, you know, the bartender who makes your drinks, you know, and they are all expecting to be paid a certain amount of money too, because it's a trickle-down effect. And often it does balance out, but I know sometimes he might get in trouble for you saying something, but then again he might not, because the manager might look around and he'll say, listen, this person, $160 something, they left me $8 and I gave them great service. And the manager gonna say, yeah, you know, but it happens. I'm sorry about that. They're probably gonna be more apologetic to him than they are to you. And it's not just because of your color, because there are a lot of people who don't know how to tip. Most of the people that I go out with know how to tip. They're from New York. But there are times when someone will be tipping and they won't be tipping enough for the waiter, and I'll either throw in an extra dollar, or I'll say, you know, if someone else is treating, I'll say, oh, I'll handle the tip. You know, I'll take care of the tip. I will. Now, if there are close friends or there are someone that I can talk to like that, and mostly they are, but now then, you know, it might be a business thing, it might be, you know, someone you don't know that well, you know, I just won't bother. I'll just go ahead and make up the money, or maybe they'll leave, I'll be like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and then I'll leave a few extra dollars, you know, or whatever. But yeah, girl, you were wrong. You were just wrong, Sharice. And I'm sure some other people probably told you that too. When you go into these places, I mean, between three of y'all couldn't have came up with $16 $8. Y'all could have came in with $16, you know, and I'm sure he was expecting at least 21, 22 bucks out of this, because he's got to pay, you know, he probably has to pay the busser 3 of that. He probably has to get a bartender 3 of that. He's probably got to give the runner, you know, 2 or 3. It's so, I mean, you're wrong. But it was funny. You funny. Oh, man. I thought you were very funny. But when you got to think about that when you go into these places. And, yeah. So if you don't think that you're going to know how much to tip, you can always ask the waiter, can you add the 15% gratuity to the check for me? You know, that's always cool. In fact, up front, that makes your waiter feel better, and they'll probably give you even better service. You know, since I was a waiter for so long, and I wouldn't mind doing it. I mean, if I didn't have a career, I really enjoyed when I was waiting, because you got to interact with people. You met people, new people all the time from all over the world, especially here in New York. You got to talk to people. I made a few friends, you know, and you have cash on hand every day. But like with anything, there's good and there's bad. You just had me rolling. It was a funny video. You know, nothing against you. Just think about it. Tell them to add the service. You know, if they do add the service, sometimes I do ask if it's normal for them to add the service, because I realize that now and then someone does add the service, and it probably is because I'm black. You know, maybe a black guy there eating. I'd be like, I used to wait tables. Is it normal for you guys to add the service? And they may say no, or they may say yeah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It doesn't make a difference. But it's just funny. All right. Take care. Be blessed. And be you, girl.